When I started rabbinical school, I never expected to be a congregational rabbi. The only rabbinical schools open to me were the more liberal ones, the Reform and Conservative ones. I'm sorry, the Reform and Reconstructionist ones. And I was clearly a conservative Jew, a practicing conservative Jew, but the Jewish Theological Seminary of the conservative movement was not yet open to women. And so I assumed I would probably not be able to find a position in a conservative synagogue. My plan had been to go do campus work. And that is, in fact, my first position out of rabbinical school was at Washington University Hillel in St. Louis. When I left that, I was 2 months short of giving birth to my oldest kid, and had the feeling that nobody would hire me for anything, given that I was due right around the Jewish High Holy Days. And in fact, I went into labor on Yom Kippur afternoon and had the baby that night. So it wasn't a bad idea that I didn't take a pulpit or any other position. But after that, the conservative movement was moving towards ordaining women. And I came to Clifton Park to a small congregation, which I served for 8 years. In between there, I spent 6 months as a hospital chaplain, part-time, in St. Louis. They needed someone on an interim basis, and there were good and bad things about it. It was, an acute care hospital, so it was very different than here. One of the big pluses is the more normal schedule. You will not have meetings 6 nights a week, 5 nights a week in a chaplaincy position. You will in a congregation. So when I decided to leave the congregation in Clifton Park in 1991, there were 3 things that I wanted out of it. And one of them was a more livable lifestyle for my family. Nights that I could be home, days where I might be able to get home before like 5:30, 6 o'clock, really made a huge difference. And I started in 1991 as chaplain at Albany Medical Center Hospital and a teaching position at Hebrew Academy, which then morphed into dropping Hebrew Academy. That's too complicated a story. And working at the Capital District Psychiatric Center. And in the summer of 1995, the Board of Rabbis was told that there was a newly created part-time position at Daughters of Sarah as chaplain. Daughters had never had a chaplain before, and the administrator at the time had come from Long Island and had seen a strong Jewish chaplaincy presence at Gerwin, which is on the south shore of Long Island, and he wanted to recreate it here. And so he did. And Federation gave Daughters, I think, enough money for 10 hours a week. And at that point, I was juggling a couple of chaplaincy positions, and my husband said to me, "We really could use the extra money, we've got a lot of expenses." And I wasn't sure I really wanted a third job, but 5 hours a week, What's really different is that you come and you really build relationships with people here, unlike a place like Albany Med. Albany Med, you form intense bonds, and then people leave either home or, unfortunately, sometimes they pass away. Here, you build relationships, and people are here for a long time sometimes, and you meet their families. You sometimes are invited to simchas, to joyous events. I remember a 70th anniversary. I've been at countless 100th birthdays. Services are important but not your major focus. And at the beginning, I did not do the Friday afternoon service. There were other volunteers that came in and did that, notably Rabbi Martin Silverman, Alava Shalom, who was started that Friday afternoon service. Um, what really you build here are relationships and listening to people and caring for people, being part of a caring team.